Navarro, I'm gonna do this in reverse because I had you on here about the shutdown and all that, but I gotta since this is about the quiet skies and that finally Trump shut it down. And the reason I started like that is President Trump. You guys are working on things at such scope and scale and urgency that there's a dozen things every day that President Trump's doing that would, in the old days, drive a news cycle, and you don't even hear about it. One is this quiet skies. But with Dr. Gina, they jerked her off a plane, said they were going to arrest her if she didn't get off, and then followed her around and threatened her with arrest at Reagan National. Just like they picked these spots to humiliate you because they understand it's one of the busiest airports in the world of prominent people, right? This is why they came in. You are one of the most important figures for what you've done for the American people under President Trump, really working with President Trump for 10 years. To do more for working men and women in this country than any other single individual in this country except for Donald Trump. You, Dr. Peter Navarro, okay? You've dedicated your life to this. They dragged you off like a murderer or terrorist and shackled you in front of everybody to humiliate you and break you. Did they not, sir?
That's exactly what they did, Steve. We found a new bombshell last week that kind of tells you exactly what was going on with Dr. Gina, with me and others. I think you've seen this, Steve. Kash Patel found in one of those burn bags an after-action memo, they call it, which reveals that there were over 200 FBI agents deployed to J6 that day. 199 of them didn't want to be there because they weren't adequately trained for the job. They were put at great risk. And in the after-action report, what's so fascinating is that they uniformly said that the Washington office of the FBI had become just woke partisan bias. One of the agents contrasted the stand-down nature of what happened in Portland with Antifa and BLM and all that, and they're not touched, they were told to stand down on that, versus what happened on J6. And it speaks to what was going on with Dr. Gina and I, because it was the mindset. I mean, think about this, Steve. It's like Mr. Comey just gets indicted for 2 felonies, 10 years possible in prison, right? What is he going to do? He gets to go what's called self-surrender. He's going to just report without the handcuffs, without the leg irons, and it's going to be him sitting there doing his thing. Whereas with me, a misdemeanor, much less possible prison time, they sent 5 armed FBI agents out to grab me in a gangway. And actually, next week, there's going to be some blockbuster news. I don't know exactly what it is, but I've been told there's more that's going to be revealed about that leg irons arrest. And this is the world we live in, Steve. And you and I went to prison.
Well, hang on.
John Eastman losing their bar cards.
Jeff Clark,
shot.
They're trying. Hang on. It's the world we lived in until President Trump said, "No, I'm coming back because I got to sort this mess out, and we're going to sort it out." And that's why I had Gina on. Your guys are doing 20 things every day to sort this mess out. That the media, we came and curated because too much of the scale that you guys are doing, rewiring the world's economy, bringing jobs back here, right? Changing the whole geopolitical order. Shutting, now going to deconstruct the administrative state, which I'll get to in a second. The scale and the scope of what the Trump administration is doing is so huge and with such urgency that 20 things that would drive a news cycle for days in the old days don't even get a mention. And this is why. So it was the world we lived in, and it was a world that was going to get more oppressive until President Trump came back. And I just hope we start getting the indictments. I know you're pressed for time. It's a beautiful day at the White House.
And by the way, this is
Dr. Navarro.
This is the Bannon thing where things in days things happen that are years worth, and that's what happens here. I mean, the pace in the first 8 months of this administration, we're getting more done in 8 months than presidents get sometimes in 8 years. I would say every time in 8 years. This is truly remarkable. We're totally restructuring the international trade system, which is amazing. Totally restructuring this illegal immigration, getting to the heart of this weaponized lawfare against the whole people of America, really. So it is an honor and a pleasure to be here and talking about this, Steve. And in the midst of this government shutdown, I would be remiss not to point out. Do we have time? Let's be very careful here what's going on.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Democrats are trying to make this about health care. It's about health care for illegal aliens. And this is just going to be another example where the Democrats are totally out of touch with the American people. I mean, it's like over 80%, maybe higher, of the American people don't think illegal aliens should get health care, particularly when Americans are struggling for that. But McLaughlin came out with a very interesting poll yesterday, which basically says we are now a nation that has bifurcated clearly in the media. You know, if you're listening to CNN, Bloomberg, MSNBC, CNBC, you're getting the message that this is about health care. Okay, that's what they're force-feeding, when the facts are that this is about health care for illegal aliens. $200 billion, Steve. $200 billion these Democrats want. And people kind of scratch their head. It's like 80% of the American people don't want that. But the problem is you have concentrations of progressive sentiment in certain states. Like California, it's 27% people foreign born, 55% Latino and Asian. And that's a different world than the rest of the country. So you get different points of view clashing here. But the lies got to stop, Steve. You got to get to the bottom of it.
Hey, Doc,